Everyone, welcome to my channel GSP Studies. Get ready for the dictation. 5 seconds. Start. Mr. Vice Chairman said during the last few months it has become fashionable to talk of the Green Revolution and the government takes a certain amount of pride in what is supposed to be the Green Revolution. But there has, in fact, been no green revolution in the country. It is correct that last year we had a record production of food grains, but the fact remains that the current year's production is not expected to be of that level. It is now not expected to be equal to that of the last year, and an additional fact is that PL 480 food grains continue to be imported in this country. Only recently, the government has entered into another PL 480 agreement to continue imports itself is not confident of the success of what is called the Green Revolution. It continues to import, it continues to regulate the flow of food grains between different parts of the country. Para. Agriculture in India remains a low yielding and uncertain vocation. There is so much talk of the high yielding varieties of seeds, but the fact is that the high yielding varieties of seeds can be used only the fields which are amply supplied with fertilizers and water. Only a minority of our agriculturalists are able to take advantage of high yielding variety of seeds, and only less than 20% of land is irrigated. 20% of our cultivable land is still rain fed. How can we talk of a green revolution, or how can we talk of achievements in the field of agriculture as long as 80% of our cultivable land depends on uncertain rains? Neither chemical fertilizer nor high yielding varieties of seeds are available to those who cultivate the 80% of the land. What has happened is this, that the better of peasants or agriculturalists who have well irrigated land and their own resources to put in fertilizers and other inputs have benefited from the introduction of chemical fertilizers and high yielding varieties of seeds. Stop para. What is called Green Revolution is in fact an unfinished revolution, and the need is to evolve new strains which will be suitable for the rest of our cultivable land. The need is to arrange for more irrigation. The need is to make credit and inputs available to the poorer sections of the peasantry. That is not being done. The agricultural strategy evolved during the last few years has escaped more than 80% of our agriculturalists and 80% of our land. Therefore, I support the demand made in the country that there should be an agricultural commission to look into the whole agricultural strategy and evolve an agricultural policy which will benefit the poorer sections of the cultivators, as the present strategy has helped only the richer sections of the cultivators. It has not at all helped the poor farmers. Para. Sir, in this connection, I cannot but take note of what the Public Accounts Committee has recently suggested. The Public Accounts Committee appears to be dominated by profit motive. They have recommended the winding up of the farmer Shutraghar State Farm because, according to the Public Accounts Committee, it is not profitable. I am of the Public Accounts Committee. We must accept this recommendation. The Shutraghar Farm was developed on wasteland, land which was not found cultivable by any cultivator. No private cultivator, no individual agriculturist would have developed that land, while this farm would have yielded profits, made cultivable because good varieties of seeds and other food grains are produced there. I am sure the government will not accept this irrational recommendation of the Public Accounts Committee that the state farm should be wound up. There is, however, a welcome proposal from the government to set up a state farm corporation for running the present state farms and others that may be set up. These state farms should be utilized to produce good quality seeds and, of course, new strains suitable for dry land should also be evolved. We must remember that a major role in our agriculture and our green revolution will have to be played by the small farmers, and unless we evolve methods to help the small farmer, the so-called green revolution will remain an unfinished revolution which has touched only a fringe of our agriculture. I think the food zones should be scrapped and the whole country should be made one big food zone, but while the food grains should be scrapped, the middlemen who get most of the profits of the trade in food grains should also be eliminated. The Food Corporation of India should procure much more than what it does, and the state governments should be persuaded to develop their own agencies for procurement, because the benefits of the growth in agriculture, growth in yield, are not going to the farmer. They are being cornered by the middleman. Unless the state governments and the FCI take procurement in their hands, this will continue. The Minister of Industrial Development last month announced in the other house his intention to remove all controls over the prices and distribution of cement from next year. I think that this also is unjustified. When cement was partially decontrolled, its price went up by rupees 8 per ton. The industry threatens, and it has announced that when decontrol comes, price will go up by much more than rupees 8 per ton. Where are we leading our economy to? As compared to August 1938, the cost of living is already in the near about 2825. In my city of Kanpur, for example, the working class cost of living index 826 for last month, and as compared to 100 in August. Stop. এই প্যাসেজের স্ট্রোক এবং পিডিএফ পেতে টেলিগ্রাম গ্রুপে জয়েন করুন, এবং ভিডিওটি ভালো লেগে থাকলে লাইক, শেয়ার এবং সাবস্ক্রাইব করে পাশে থাকা বেল আইকনটি প্রেস করে রাখুন সবার নোটিফিকেশন পেতে। থ্যাঙ্কস ফর ওয়াচিং।